Hi guys. Okay, it's Wednesday today, and I went for a run this morning, but nice long run actually, 13 miles because I'm training for a half marathon in a couple of weeks' time, and it all went good. But I got back just in time to do this trade that you see on the screen here, and this is the London Breakout strategy. So it's the pound against the US dollar. And for you, those who don't know, well, if you've seen all my other clips, you'll see that I tend to trade it most of the time. But basically, what we have here is in the grayed out box here, we have the Asian session, which runs from midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning, UK time. Okay, and it's quite a narrow range normally. Now, I'll just point out here what we've got here. This is a 5 minute candlestick chart by this. So every one of these candlesticks is 5 minutes worth of trading. You see here, I pointed out there's been a CPI report, which is why you've got this big uplift in this 5 minute here. And the CPI report, what you do is you go to Forex Factory. I always check this in the morning. I'd obviously checked it at the weekend anyway to see what's coming up during the week. You can see here at 7 o'clock in the morning UK time, we had the CPI report, which you don't really need to know all the ins and outs of it. If you click on the folder, it says the actual growth in the forecast is good for the currency. And what it is, this particular one is change in the price of goods and services purchased by consumers. Gives all the information here. Okay, so change in the price of goods and services, actual greater than is good for the currency. Now, actually, see here. So this is it says here the forecast was 2.2, previous was 2.2, staying pretty stationary. Previous 2.2, forecast today was 2.2. So it wasn't great. It was still 2.2. But what it's done is it's still given this great uplift here. Now, what you normally do is you trade the first 5 minute candlestick that goes up outside the box. So here we go long, so we'd buy or we go short out the bottom here. Now some traders will use a 10-minute chart, 30-minute chart, hourly chart. I don't know, there are many variations. I use a 5 minute chart, okay? So I wait for 5 minutes. Now, what I did wrong here was, and I got away with it luckily, as you can see, I got in up here, and that was at 13192.8. And what I do is I set the order, I set it for £10 a pip, and it's what's known as a limit order. So limit order is you're saying I want to get to 20 pips. So 20 pips times £10 a pip, that's £200. My trailing stop is 15 pips. So that's £150, okay? But what I did wrong here was, as you can see here, look, I should have gone in on this candlestick here. About 186. I've lost about 6 pips by going in here, which is a lot, because bear in mind my trailing stop's only 15. But even though I set these orders and leave them, I did wonder to myself, I set it for 15 pips, maybe it should be adjusted. Not that it would, not that it would necessarily hit it and stay there, it would come back up again, but because I was on £10 a pip and I have been doing £12 a pip, so I could afford to have a slightly bigger stop. So I was thinking about that. And the reason I didn't go in on these ones here is because you can see these wicks here. See, that was a small red one there, which means the price has been going down. On here there was a wick here, and I've had it before where you get the resistance here and it comes all the way back down again. So the entry point is crucial, as well as the exit point. I mean, exit point's normally automatic, but the entry I'm waiting for when I think I should either go long or short. Obviously, it's broken out the box at the top here, so I go long. But when? And also the reason was because this wick hits met resistance. I was also looking at the Euro USD. Now these two pairs are correlated, so they move in the same direction. Okay. Now this is the same chart for today, Wednesday. We've got the Asian session here, and as you can see here, it's been lagging behind. Excuse me, it's been lagging behind the pound and the US. And the reason was, if we go to, let's go to 7 o'clock for the news report. Okay, we've got a bit of a big candlestick, but nothing much, and then it's come back down again. Unlike the pound US, which went all the way up. Well, it did come back down slightly, but we've got this nice big trend. So here you see, and if I had gone in here, I mean, basically what I do is I trade either the pound US or the Euro US. You can use the London Breakout strategy on either, and I tend to go whichever one breaks first. But also I look at the news reports as well. If I'd gone in here, 111132, yeah, I'd probably get about 8 pips. And you see it's come all the way back now, and this is what, 12:30 on Wednesday. So it wouldn't have done me any good. So even though the pairs do follow together, and normally I wait for them both to break out the box, because what's happened before is sometimes one pair's broken out and the other hasn't broken out, and you find the original pair that broke out comes back into the box and you lose. But in this instance, we've had the news reports that's slightly different. So as you can see here, it's gone all the way up. And what happened was my trailing stop moved up. So it moves up in a trailing step of 5. So as it goes up 5, it goes from the 15 to 10 to 5. And I think actually it just before it was about to take profit, I did check, which was naughty of me, because I get alerts come through on my watch telling me that the stop has been automatically edited. And I think it left about two pips. So I was just about £20. And it was about 6 pips short. So I thought it was worth risking the £20, obviously, to get another, £60 to get it up to the 200. And obviously it did. Now you might say, okay, I should let it go further. Now some traders will, set it for 30 pips, or, I tend to not be greedy. In just under 2 hours, that was, I bought it 8.20 and closed it at 10.10. So it's just under 2 hours, £200. I'm not complaining about that. But, some traders will let it leave longer. They'll leave it for a set period of time, or they'll go for 30 pips. But I'm not greedy. As you see, it's coming back down again. It's now R12, so it's come back down again. So that's the London Breakout trade. So I'm really happy with that trade. Now another indicator I use, I don't actually trade it, is, and they call it the US dollar basket on my IG broker, but actually it refers to the dollar index, and what it is, it's a basket of currencies that are measured against the US dollar, and in there you've got obviously you've got the euro, you've got the pound sterling, you've got the Swiss franc, you've got the Japanese yen, and you've got the Swedish krona. So there's five currencies in there, but the main majority of that is actually the euro, and that's at 57.6% weighting. The pound sterling comes in at third at 11.9% weighting. But what it does is, I don't trade it, but it gives you a good indication. If you look here, this is when the pound CPI report came out at 7 o'clock. You see it's gone down, because obviously the pound goes up, then against the US dollar, then the US dollar is going to come down. And this is what happened. It comes back up again, and then it comes back all the way down here. So about 10 o'clock when I closed out my trade, you see it's still on a downward trend. Now I use this to look at it, because obviously if the US dollar index is up, then if you're trading the pound and US dollar, or the euro US dollar, and the US dollar index, or the Dixie as they informally call it, if the US dollar index is rising, then you're trading the pound against the US dollar, or the euro against the US dollar. Then the euro or the pound is probably going to be going down against the dollar if the dollar index is rising. Okay, and vice versa. If the dollar index is coming down, then your pound or euro against the US dollar is probably going to be going up. So I always do check it. So it's like a 3-step process. London Breakout strategy is fairly simple, but it's like a three-step process. So first of all, I would go to forexfactory.com and just look on there to see what news reports are coming out. I tend not to trade news reports directly. In other words, I don't go in just before them. And sometimes, the pairing won't do much in the few hours before a report. It tends to, keep in a certain range and won't really do anything. So what I would do is I'd look to see if there's any news reports and be wary of them. Obviously, this one came out at 7, so it'd already been done and dusted, and it had a good upward trend from then. Okay, and then I look at both pairs. So I look at the euro US. I tend to go for which one breaks first, but I also look at the range here. You want quite a narrow range, actually. The more the narrow ranges, the better. I think with the pound US this morning, there's about 27 pips. Which is great. You can see it's quite a narrow range. You've got more chance of a good breakout. But if it's like about 45 pips, and it tends to stay in that range for the whole day. So London Breakout strategy doesn't always work, but it's got a good percentage of winning. And it is a simple strategy, but like any simple strategy, it's implementing it. And you can tinker with it. I say you can tinker with the what candlesticks you use. You know, what stops you use. I always used to use just a normal stop, but I find a trading stop is minimizing my losses, which is good. There are very ways to go. So as I say, my process is I look at the forex factory first of all. Okay, see if there's any news reports come out going to affect it. Euro US, I look at see how that's moving. The pound US, obviously today there was only the report affecting the pound. That's why the pound US I managed to get a good profit, and the euro US I haven't. And sometimes it's around the other way. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it swings around, but sometimes you can never tell. You go with the euro US when it breaks out, and you know it doesn't quite get to the 20 pips or even the 15 pips, whereas the pound US might. So you know it does alter around, but you know I'm really happy with that trade this morning. I got back just in time to do it after my run this morning, preparing for my half marathon in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, got back just in time to sort that out. And just under 2 hours, yeah, that's the winning trade of £200. So that'll be it for today for me. I'm not doing any more trades today. I'm quite happy with that. And you know, I'll have a look at London Breakout strategy tomorrow morning and see if there's any opportunities there. Going through the same process again. So yeah, so I just thought I'd update you on a nice little winning trade this morning. If you want to see more of my winning trades, then pop along to Running Trader. I've got many more clips of how I trade the London Breakout strategy. And